Alright, shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to begin by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Talalal Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, double and steady apostles of great millstone that rule well. Bless and salutation to the sincere Akim, sincere brethren, pushing his will in sincerity and true day, Brother Howard, back here once again to do a quick lesson, something that I was thinking about, a little earlier. This morning, I don't get a chance, to bring this video into reality, and it's just a message to brothers out there. This thing is not about performing for men. This thing is not about performing for anybody. But this thing is about doing what is pleasing unto Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, right? Because this is our reasonable service, as the scriptures say, right? Reasonable service, right? It used to happen to me, studying views and how people view my videos or whatever the case might be, and when I come to think about it, I see basically this thing is not about who viewing the videos. This thing is about you actually knowing what you're in, knowing what you're supposed to do, and continue pushing and doing it regardless of if you ain't getting the recognition that you want to get. It's not about being recognized by the entire world. This thing is not about fame, right? This thing is about pushing the word, pushing the name, pushing the word, pushing the truth, right? For Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, right? So this is the book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, I beseech you, and I will read this in the NIV. Right? Romans chapter 12 and 1. It says, and so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to power, because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him. Right? So giving our bodies as a living sacrifice unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Right? This is our service. Right? This is what we're supposed to do. Other scripture that states, how we go by it? Unprofitable. Put that up here. Right, Luke 17 and verses 10, it says, I'll read from verses 7. It says, Luke 17 and verses 7 says, but which of you, having a servant plowing or feeding cattle, will say to him, by and by, where he will come from the field, go and sit down to meat? And will not rather say unto him, make ready wherewith I may sup and gird thyself and serve me. till I have eaten and drinking, and afterwards thou shalt eat and drink. Do it he think that servant, because he did the thing that was commanded him, I trow not. So likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded of you. Right? Listen. It says, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded of you, say we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. And I will read this in the NIV, and then I'll expound. Alright. Let me put this one on, do not disturb real quick. Luke 17 and 10. It says, in the same way, when you obey me, you should say we are unworthy servants who have simply done our duty. So it's our duty to push this truth, right? It's our duty to go out and prophesy. It's our duty to study, right? It's our duty to continue, right? In what we was taught, or in what we learn. All right, that is our duty. You see? Right. So don't think of it like as I ain't getting enough views, or because that's something I used to watch, you know. I ain't getting enough views. That you know, if you have 5 audience, 10 audience, right? 1,000 audience is all well and good. You know, just continue pushing this word, right? Pushing Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, pushing the message. The message is what is important, right? The message is what is important. Sometimes, you know, people will view videos for you know, brothers who might be eloquent in speech, you know, the way they would bring across and you know, the words very articulate, you know what I mean? So it will captivate the audience. It's all well and good. But however the Spirit of the Lord bring it towards you, you bring it. Alright? You bring it. This is about opening the eyes of the people. This is about waking up the people. This is about pushing the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. Right? Because back then, it have a lot of prophets that was back then, that wasn't even mentioned in the scriptures. When you read in the book of Kings, you know, it speak about, I think it's Elijah or Elisha speak about about 1,000 prophets unknown or something like that. I get it. Right, so I did this. Right, I asked Chat GPT about the unknown prophets, and this is what the basically what Chat response was. Where is it? Right, so you speak about 100 unnamed prophets in the book of 1 Kings, which I was mentioning before. 1 Kings 18 and 4. Right, 1 Kings 18 and 4. First Kings 18 and verse 4. And it says, for it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of Yahweh, and Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water. Right? And these were prophets. The word prophets, we already know what the word prophet means to say before. Right? So these wasn't known prophets. Right? But these wasn't known prophets of biblical canon prophets, where they have books in the Bible now. Right? But they were probably prophets of a minor status or below the minor status, where you'll be a prophet for your household, you'll be a prophet for a certain community, right? A vast majority, right? So, as the scriptures speak about, there are offices for every individual, or the body is made up of different parts, and whatever the case might be. Brothers know what I'm speaking about, right? So everyone had to play the role. In other words, everyone had to play the role. Every prophet had to play the role. All prophets wasn't under the same caliber, didn't have the same degree, right? The Lord used other men for different purposes, all right, for whatever the reason may be, right? It mentioned in 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 3 and 2 to 5, it mentioned the son of a prophet, right? It also mentioned anonymous prophet in 1 Kings chapter 13, right? First Kings chapter 13. There was a man of God from Judah who prophesied against Jeroboam, no name given. Right? I believe. And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah, but the word of the Lord of Yahweh, by the word of Yahweh unto Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense, and he cried against the altar in the word of Yahweh, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith Yahweh, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priest of the high places, and burn incense upon thee. The men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. Right? So there was an unknown prophet, right? But yet still he was known. See? 1 Kings chapter 20 and verse 35, it says, a certain man of the sons of the prophets unknown again. Right? This is what chapter stating. New Testament prophet without books. In Acts 13 and 1, right? There was a Acts 13 and 1. Mentioned Philip's 4 daughters. No, Acts 13 and 1, there was prophets in the church of Antioch, only some are named, others are not. Also, Acts 21 and 9 mentioned Philip's 4 daughters who prophesied, no individual name name recorded. Sorry. You see, Acts 13 and 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as
Barnabas and Simeon that was called nigger or Niger, right? So yeah. So within the scriptures or within history, you will see that there are prophets, but a prophet know their role, right? The main thing is that the prophet know their role, right? So we, as men of the Lord, in these times of being prophets or New Testament prophets, you could call it, or modern day prophet, you could call it. You know, we have the Urim and the Turim, you know, the internet, where we could prophesy. We also go out on the highways and byways, which in the near future we won't be, right? But we know the duty of being a prophet. The duty of being a prophet is to go outside, prophesy, right, to whoever, right? And when they hear the word, they will come in, right? The elect. And that is just what we need to do. Right now, concerning the unicorn, let's prophesy and preach the word, right? And the Spirit of the Lord will lead whoever He needs to lead there. You know what I mean? So hopefully, you know, the point was given. I want to give all praises to H.O.B, Shemi and Shai, that belongs to the apostles of Gravenstone and Rubel. And blessed and salutation to the sincere Aki and pushing this with the sincerity and all truth. Shalom.